We are going to continue on with our service now, and I just want to say a happy Mother's Day from myself and my family to all the ladies here as well, and also all our women over in chapel as well. Happy Mother's Day to you guys. Well, as you know, here we love to celebrate that spirit and the heart of motherhood, and this morning I have the privilege of exploring another facet of that in greater detail. And we've already heard from Pastor Jenny, who has shared with us, around the importance of recognizing our own worth and value in the eyes of God. And so we thought there would, it'd be great to be able to explore that conversation a little bit more, and not only just understanding that we are valued in the eyes of God, but juggling that whilst also caring for the people in our world, because who knows, sometimes the work that we do, it can take a toll on us. It doesn't take long for us to begin to feel the weight of what we do. And so how do we, continue to care for people whilst not losing our sense of worth in the process? And so I'm so excited to be able to explore that today. And joining me on that conversation are these four incredible women who you may have seen around the place, but we've got Jess, Jo, Denny, and Mari joining with us this morning. Why don't you give them a huge welcome? They're also thrilled to be up here, can't you tell? Hey, look, before we delve into our discussion this morning, I thought it would be really good for our panellists to just introduce themselves a little bit, tell us a bit about what you do, and share a snapshot of your life. So, Jess, do you want to kick us off? Tell us a bit about yourself and your role in the community. Hey, Jess, if you just hold it up a bit, we can hear you. Yeah, thank you.
So they also come with children, and because I am a mom, I think it is a good space for me to support and tell them that they're not alone. We're here to support them.
Yeah, so if you didn't quite catch what Jess does early on in the piece, she's a domestic and family violence worker here in the region, and yeah. Jo.
I'm Jo. I'm a midwife, among other things, and I work at the base hospital. So I see lots of women from lots of different backgrounds and lots of things going on in their life.
I'm Danny. I am married to Malcolm, and we have two boys, Will and Reuben. I'm a teacher at Toowoomba Christian College, and I've been in prep teaching little people for the past 7 years. So, so I get to help families journey through that first year of schooling and work alongside them for that.
Hi, I'm Mari. I'm married to Petrus, got two grown daughters, and I recently gained a son-in-law. I'm also a customer service coordinator during the week, my paid job, and then some weekend at TAFE, Queensland, yeah. And then some weekends I volunteer as civic assist street crew in the community, Friday nights, Saturday nights, and also recently start street chaplaincy, which is quite exciting. And in my different roles, even in my paid work and my community services volunteer work, I try to show kindness to people and love and make them feel valuable and have that conversations with them and and hope when we finish with a conversation that they feel loved and valued. So that is my aim.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Mari. And I know that anybody that has met with you definitely gets that sensing when they meet with you. So all of you are very much in the people business, very hands-on, involved with caring and helping people in your day-to-day. And I'm sure there have been many moments where you've had to help people and their families through some really difficult times. How do you help them in those moments know their worth or discover their worth? And maybe you have, a story that you could share with us where you've actually experienced or witnessed someone that you're helping recognise their worth. Who would like to kick that off for us? Danny?
Sure. Don't make eye contact. No. I guess I was thinking over this question, and I feel lots of times you just need to, I guess, be encouraging of people. Sharing my own struggles I find really helpful. And before I was a mum, I was a good teacher, but I didn't really get it. I didn't see them. I didn't understand the struggles they had. And being a mum myself, I get it now. I see them. I can share stories of how I've found things tough that we're going through as well. And I guess that I find honesty is really important as well. And just cheering people on. Like, for example, I was at work the other day and one of my friends was there and she had a moment where she turned up an hour late for her son's soccer game because she just got the time wrong, and which is a simple mistake that we make, and she was so hard on herself, and she said she went home in the car and just sobbed and sobbed on the way home because she had so much pressure on herself that she'd let him down so badly. And I said to her, no, we're not doing that. We're not being that person. We all make mistakes. That's okay. And this little simple thing of you being an hour late for something is so normal, but sometimes it's helpful for someone to say that to you because you get caught up in words in your head, like the song that John Ray was singing, saying, you know what, you didn't do a terrible thing. You turned up an hour late, and for God to place people in your life to tell you that sometimes when you're not hearing it from him is really helpful. So I just said to her, we're not talking about that anymore. You made a really easy mistake and let's move on.
Having that affirmation.
And people have done it to me too. I find it really helpful. So
absolutely. That's fantastic. Joe, what about yourself?
Sometimes in healthcare, it's really easy for the person in the centre of the healthcare to get missed, especially when things are developing really quickly or they're learning to take care of a tiny human. So I spend a lot of my time telling my mums that they're the expert in their baby, and if they feel something's wrong, probably between now and when they're born and when they're probably 30, you're probably right. So to listen to that voice and to keep asking questions until someone does listen to you. And a lot of our women in our communities have never felt valued or loved for their whole lives. And then they've got this tiny human that they've got to figure out what to do with. One of the ladies I was looking after once, her baby was doing this thing, and something didn't feel right, but all of our guidelines, all of the baby's OBS, clinically, the baby was fine. And I got the paediatric doctor to come in and he said, no, everything's fine. But she was still really worried. And I kept telling her, if you think something's not right, listen to that. Anyway, I went on my dinner break and I came back and she was in the staff room and they'd called a code on this baby because she'd videoed what the baby was doing. And so she actually had evidence of what had gone on. Long story short, the baby was very sick and ended up going to Brisbane. But if she hadn't listened to that and listened to us going, oh, no, everything's fine, it could have been really awful for them.
Yeah, helping them recognise their voice in there, that's beautiful. Jess, what about yourself?
So we see a lot of women now that TV is it's becoming. I don't know if I can say it's a norm now in the community, but it is. Yeah. And women come with their little ones, even they're pregnant as well, and they're coming out from out of the region, and because the
That's amazing, Jess. Really reducing that shame, that can come in those difficult situations and helping them be free of that in many ways. Awesome. Mari, did you have anything?
Well, when I deal with people at work and in my volunteering capacity, I think the main thing is just being there for them and know that you're listening with intent and know that there is somebody that will listen to them. There's a lot of scenarios that I can name, but these ladies have named a few, and I think the most important thing is to make them feel valuable and challenge the negative thoughts that they have of themselves, and just focus on the positives for them and what their strengths, and that they're actually great people.
Yeah, that's awesome. In the work that you guys are involved in, I imagine there's often misconceptions and barriers that people present with that might make it difficult for them to recognise that worth, and especially women when we're navigating that ourselves. But can you share your insights on any that you've observed in the workplace? And what you guys do?
I guess from prep, we have to. It's often the first place where parents get a really good view of their little person compared to others. And I guess you can do that at kindy and church and other things, but it's a really clear indicator of where they're at academically and socially and things compared to other kids. And I think lots of us have a view in our heads how that should go, how they should learn and how they should act and how they should be towards others. And at the end of the day, we can't control that. The only people we can control is ourselves, and we can try to guide them, but it's really hard for parents to see that. Yeah. It's really hard for them to understand that their little one is not doing these things to upset them or that they've done something wrong, and they can take it really personally. So we often have to have hard conversations about that with them, like they're really struggling with this or they find this really difficult, and they can take it really personally. Because I don't know about some of you guys, but in your head when you start out with the mum gig, there's a picture of how you think it's going to go and how you think they learn and how you think that they'll understand things, and that's not always the case. Or how you think they'll behave. Yeah. It can be really tricky to hear. That they're having trouble with things, or they're not making great choices, or they're not being a kind friend, and then you can really take it very personally, like you've done something wrong. And so I guess it's just about getting alongside them and going. Even the other day I was talking to a mum and she's like, okay, we're going to work on that at home, and I said to her, look, you know what? This is not something you can fix. Maybe he'll always do that, and that's okay, that's the way God made him, but let's just love him around that, and you don't have to fix this. You don't have to work on all these things and see it as something you have to better or change. You're doing the best job you can, and that's okay.
Yeah, that would have been amazing for her to hear in that moment.
It was almost like she just had a weight lifted off of her to go, wow, okay.
Yep. What about you ladies? Any misconceptions or barriers that kind of prevent people from knowing their worth?
One thing that I struggle with in my field is when a lady has a baby, if things don't go according to plan, and she's got a beautiful, perfect baby, but she is falling apart, and the whole, you should be grateful you've got a healthy baby, which is really important, but if she's not well enough to take care of that baby within herself, that's also really important, and I don't think our culture does that very well.
Yeah, definitely. That would be challenging for them.
We have a mom, she's from Islander, and she came with 3 children, and she was pregnant as well. She decided to abort the child. And that is a challenging moment for me as a Christian to hear that. And so we had to sit down with her and try to, help her to see if that is the right decision that she can make. She actually went to the doctors, came back, and maybe in that moment we were talking to her. She said that, I'll sleep on it and tell you guys later. tomorrow maybe. She decided not to, and she kept the baby, and they moved on. So, like, the barriers in there is they come with lots of, trauma, lots of mental health issues because they're going through so much. And the perpetrator is, calling them as well and putting more pressure. And coercive control is very common now. And it is an abuse. So these things go into play on their mind, and they think that they can go through it.
So you find that when there's other voices kind of coming from different angles can really impact
It
the
can.
way that people see themselves and process their value and worth.
It can,
Yeah,
yes.
definitely.
So we do have counselors, and we refer
Yeah.
them to services.
Yeah.
And we are grateful that Toowoomba has a lot of services that our women and children can go to.
Yeah, it can be very challenging for all of us, I think, yeah. Mari, was there anything you wanted to add to that?
The only thing I can add to what the ladies already said, the biggest thing I found working with different kinds of people is, like Danny said, a lot of people compare themselves with others, and then they feel they fell short, and then that's where they measure their self-worth in, and so think, oh, I'm falling short, I've got all these. So we are most likely our worst critics,
Yeah.
because our
Comparison
mindset
game.
is into that negative view. So our challenge is to turn that around
Yeah.
and show them that they are loved and that they are valuable wherever they are, and just focus on their positives.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. You guys are involved in very emotionally laboursome jobs, and a lot of what you guys do, I imagine you must reflect on towards the end of the day and be quite taxing and draining, possibly on yourself or on your families and things like that. How do you guys go balancing the self-care side of things alongside your own self-worth whilst also caring for people? What are some strategies and things that you work through?
For me, is setting boundaries.
Yeah.
Because when you're on the job, your focus is on the job. But when you get home, you need to leave that behind and really think of your own health and well-being, because some things that we are going through is quite emotionally draining. It helps me to have a support system around me, like my husband and family and friends. So talking to them, talking through it with them. And I love reading, so I like
reading.
to do some reading, listening to audiobooks or music. Yes, and just know that the support system is there. So,
That's good.
yeah.
Yeah, they're really important things. So what do you guys do? What helps?
I'm probably not great at this, to be honest. I try to exercise in the morning before work, and I feel like that is really good for my mental health. And I mean, that's easier for me with older kids. When they were little, it was a bit tougher. But I find that I give a lot at work, and then at the end of the day, there's not a lot left for my own family, which is hard sometimes. And I probably, I don't know, Jen a couple of years ago had a message up here actually, and I still remember it, and she was talking about leaving the worst for your family, and I know I do that. I give so much during the day, and I often find when I get home that there's not a lot left to give, which is not great to say, but I just find that's something I'm always still working on. And I know that's a world of working with little people that is rewarding but draining, I guess. So, but yeah, the boys are patient with me, and Malcolm is helpful. To be
Good
honest,
family.
it's something I find really hard.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
When you're giving so much of yourself at work, that can take a toll. Boundaries are definitely important. So when it's and making sure that they're respected. And if you're in a workplace that is constantly not respecting those boundaries, that's really important to either speak up or, okay, what can I change, because my family just doesn't deserve what's left over. In my job, there's some really, really wonderful, beautiful parts, and there's also some really, really heartbreaking parts, and it's sometimes on the same day, and having to swing between those two. Women who are falling apart in one room and someone else is being abusive because there's no cold water. It's very rarely about the cold water. It's everything that's happened in their journey before then. So I talk to God on the way to work. I talk to God on the way home from work. Sometimes I go out in the storeroom and cry and talk to God to kind of recenter myself, because some days are big.
Yeah, you sound very involved in the day-to-day, the little things. Hey, oh God, yeah.
My self-care is to talk about the ripped jeans with Pastor Jared. So I like my network in Civic.
Yeah, very good.
I don't have much family, but with the job that I do, I try to find a fit in a family, and Civic has become my support.
Yeah, it's beautiful. That's awesome. I imagine that in some of the roles that you have and those, the roles of influence, and when you're caring for people, you would encounter some kinds of stereotypes and expectations that, the people that you're caring for would place on you, and that might not necessarily reflect what your roles are in your day-to-day. Are there any stereotypes that might actually challenge your self-worth in those moments?
Maybe for me it's because of the skin color that I have.
Yeah, sure.
So
Yeah, that's.
yeah.
Yeah. How do you navigate that?
I just tell them that I'm here to support you,
Yeah,
despite of the color.
yeah,
So if you need help, I'm here.
yeah. Beautiful. That's so good. Yep. What about you, ladies? Anything that you've come across that?
I guess not so much from people having that expectation, but maybe more of myself, and as Murray said, comparing myself to other people.
Yeah.
I think we often say with a couple of friends at work, I guess when our mums were probably our age, they probably didn't work as much as what we did. So I just feel like we're talking about this pressure of working a lot and looking after children still and running a household. And I guess, as the mum said to me the other day, I need to hear my own stories.
Yeah.
That pressure on doing all those things really well,
Yeah.
like juggling so many balls at the same time and trying to do all those things really well.
Yep. Yeah. Putting those expectations on you, and that can be challenging.
For me, it's more what I put on myself.
Yeah.
Sometimes you feel you might not be good enough.
Yeah.
I'm not a natural speaker.
Yeah.
So it's definitely going out of my comfort zone to start a conversation with people,
Yeah, sure.
because I'm actually quite shy and introverted.
Yeah.
So it's definitely putting myself out of my comfort zone and pushing myself. And just know my worth in God, because without Him I can't do it.
No.
And I have a lot of love to give, and I want to share it with people. And that's why I keep pushing.
That's so good. That's beautiful. Joe.
Days when I've tried my hardest and it's still not enough, when you've run all day and you haven't had a break and you leave work feeling like, I don't feel like I did my job well anywhere today, because I was everywhere. Those days are hard, and comparison is huge. Comparing yourself to other people's clinical skills. Over time, I've kind of realised, okay, well, I'm not the one to walk in and be able to manage that room, but I'm the one to hold a mum's hand when she's crying. I'm the one to look after her and look after her heart, and that's okay, because we don't need the most clinical person all the time. Sometimes you need someone just to love them.
Yeah, that's right. Walk that journey with the personal touch. Look, just in closing, I wonder if you guys could share a specific example or an insight into how your faith has influenced the way you see yourself and your own worth, and how you place value on others. Maybe it's a verse or a thought, or
Again, last year there was a group of ladies at work, and we found ourselves getting a bit grumbly about small things. So we came up with a little saying. It's that I get to do things instead of I have to, rather
that's
than
really good.
I have to make lunches, or I have to hang washing out, or I have to go on playground duty, because it is the worst. But I get to, because I know there's lots of women who can't have kids, and they would give anything to make lunches, and lots of people have lost their mum, and they would give anything to be hanging washing on the
Yes.
line. Do you know what I mean? Like, and so some days when things are hard, that's what we say to each other.
So good.
I get to do those things that I don't, I usually that I have to, and it really does shift your thinking. Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah, that perspective shift. It's awesome. What about you, Mari?
Well, I want to share one of the verses.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of verses that's special to me, but this is one of them. One of the verses in the Bible, Psalm 139:14, that really hits home for me. It says, I praise you because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. So whenever I read that, it's like this instant reminder that I'm loved and valued by God just as I am.
Mari, I had that written down too. That's so special. That's
That
what you
is
wrote
such
down.
a good
It's not about what I achieve or what others think of me. It's about being cherished as a creation of God.
Yeah,
And
knowing
that
worth,
is-
that's so good.
That's how I see and remind myself. And a lot of times I constantly have to remind myself because life happens, and it's just keep reminding yourself that you are wonderfully made.
Yeah, it's beautiful. That's awesome. Great insight.
Parts of my life I've been very messy and haven't felt very valued. I never thought I was smart enough to go to uni, and then God put this on my heart, and I got into uni. I passed uni. I got my dream job as a graduate midwife. And one thing that whenever I wasn't sure what to do, and in the hard moments, I kept saying, God, you didn't bring me this far to only bring me this far.
Yeah.
Sorry. So that's one thing. And also with work, whenever I'm not sure where to go with my career, I keep taking it back to him and going, okay, well, you obviously wanted me here. You've pulled me all the way through. What am I missing? Where do you need me now? And that's helped a lot.
Yeah, that's so cool.
My favorite verse for what I do in the work that I do is Galatians 5:22 and 23. I have to be, the fruits are there. I have to produce those fruits in that moment when, when the seas are raging, I have to be calm, peace, all this joy in that moment. Yeah. And I look to John 15, the wine, that Jesus is the wine, we are the branches. Yeah. I have to be that fruit in that moment for that person to find their way in their downtime. So my favorite verse is Galatians 5:22 and John 15.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that connection between those two. Abiding in him, and he produces the fruit that you need in that moment. That's fantastic. Well, ladies, honestly, we have so loved hearing from you guys this morning and knowing that song that that Jean-Ray performed, and it talks about, you're the coat for the cold, and what I see you is a heart of gold. What I see when I see you is a heart of gold, and that is you guys to a T. Absolute hearts of gold, legends in this place, and we're so grateful that you've shared some of that heart with us today. And so why don't you give these guys a huge round of applause. Thank you so much for joining me up here. They are living super women right here, wouldn't you agree? Hey, if there is anything that I took away from today, I think it would be this thought that the valued reflect value because they see the worth in every single person. And I think that's the challenge that we can take away this Mother's Day, is that, yes, it's important for us to know our own worth in the eyes of God, but it doesn't just stay there. We continue and we allow that worth and that value to be reflected, and so that others know their worth too. And so I hope that has been an encouragement, that you've picked up some different perspectives about how we can do that and to continue that. that journey of caring and cheering on and championing people in our world. So we are going to finish up very shortly. We'll have one more song, but before we do, I'd love to invite one of our senior pastors, Pastor Ange, up. She's going to come up and pray for all our women here today.
Hello, I'm not a senior pastor. Not yet. But soon, Jess, very, very soon. Hey, it is always a privilege and honour to come up and pray. And this morning, I'd love to pray for all our ladies here this morning. And as before we pray, I just was asking God, what would you want to say? And Mother's Day, I believe, is two things. It's a day of great love, but it's also a day of great loss. And sometimes as women, we carry both today. We can carry great love for a myriad of reasons, for our own children, for our own mothers, grandmothers, spiritual mums in our life. But it can also be a day of great loss, of losing children, losing mums, maybe not having great family life, for a myriad of reasons. And I'm so thankful for those amazing women that came up here to share part of their journeys of great love and great loss. And you can see there's a beautiful heart in women. There's a beautiful softness in women for love and for loss. And so I don't know every lady here today and what your love and your loss is, but I want to say as a church we see you. But most importantly today, I want you to remember that God sees you and God knows, and He is with you and He is supporting you and encouraging you today. But we're also a church that is here to champion and cheer one another on as well. And maybe, as the ladies were up here, maybe there was something that just really maybe triggered you, upset you. Maybe it's part of your journey. Can I encourage you? Talk to somebody after the service. If there's loss going on, love going on, whatever it is, we are here as community to cheer one another on. We laugh together, but we can also cry together. And so this morning, if you are here and you want to chat, all our pastors would be very happy to talk with you after the service, and that would be a really cool thing. But I would just love the opportunity to pray for us all this morning. Father, I just thank you that we can come with thanksgiving to you this morning. Thankful for the way that you created us all uniquely and individually, God. And this morning, God, I specifically want to pray for all our ladies, all our women, God. God, you've given us a special gift, a gift straight from the heart of God. And God, you know every woman here. You know her deep love and her deep loss this morning, God. And I pray, God, this morning that you would overwhelm us with your love, your peace, your hope, and your joy, God, this Mother's Day. That we would know how truly valued we are in you, God. No matter the love, no matter the loss, God, our value is securely in you, God. So, God, today, whatever we feel, whatever we're going through, whatever today looks like, God, I pray and I thank you. I thank you that you are with us, guiding us, leading us. And we would know more than anything else today, God, that we are the beloved God, that you love us so deeply, so kindly, so generously, God, that you would be our hope and our strength today. And we thank you for it. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. And can I also say thank you to our men here today for supporting us and encouraging us in our womanhood, because there's something important when we do it together. So thank you, men, as well. But it's not about you today, it's about us. So, I just wanted to give you the shout out, but it's really about us. Hey, I'm so glad that you decided to come to Civic this morning. Make sure you hang around, get a coffee, and enjoy this incredible day. And the team's going to take us out with one last song.